The movie begins by introducing a small family living in a remote area, a father named Carter, his wife Mara, and their son Sam. One day, when Sam tripped, Mara asked Carter to check on him, but Carter did not respond. The scene shifts to a funeral. Several people are attending the ceremony. Meanwhile, a little girl named Isabel visits her parents' graves, accompanied by her uncle Roger. After finishing her prayers, Isabel took a photo of a grave near her parents' graves. However, while the priest was praying, he was suddenly attacked by a masked man named Saad. Saad then approached the woman present, and before silencing her, he removed his mask and explained that her family had opposed his superiors. Since the woman had seen Saad's face, he felt compelled to silence her to eliminate any evidence or living witnesses. Saad immediately buried the victim along with the weapon he used, unaware that Isabel had taken evidence during the act. Filled with fear, Isabel returned to where she had been to find her uncle, but Roger was gone. It turned out that Roger was searching for Isabel in the cemetery. Isabel returned to the cemetery and saw Roger talking to Saad. She shouted a warning to Roger, but it was too late. Saad then targeted Isabel, but noticed the camera she was holding and decided to chase her instead. The scene shifts to Carter, who is currently writing a letter to Mara. It becomes clear that the earlier scene was merely a flashback, as Carter now lives alone in the house. Moments later, Carter heard Isabel's screams for help. He quickly opened the door, but Saad launched an immediate attack, injuring Carter's leg. Carter quickly retreated inside and prepared a shotgun with only 2 rounds left. As soon as Saad entered the house, Carter attacked him, inflicting serious injuries. Saad carefully examined the bullet that Carter had fired, realizing that Carter's weapon was a short-range firearm with poor accuracy. Carter threatened to call the police, but Saad quickly checked the home phone, which was no longer working. He then found Carter's cell phone, ensuring that Carter had no way to call for help. Saad then made an offer. Carter would be allowed to leave if he handed over Isabel, who was currently the only witness to the incident. However, Carter was not all interested in the offer. He insisted on protecting Isabel. Saad then began to persuade Carter, stating that it was no longer possible for him to seek help with his injured leg. Carter asked Isabel to bring a medicine box. After that, he tried to treat his wound himself, hoping to stop the bleeding in his leg and reduce the pain somewhat. Interestingly, Carter and Saad's treatment methods are the same. But who are they really? For Saad, it's clear that he's someone paid to carry out missions from his superiors. As for Carter, we'll reveal that later. After treating the wound, Carter asked Isabel to bring a lamp and some towels. He then broke the lamp and scattered the shards across the stairs. This action was intended to detect if Saad attempted to go upstairs when Carter was off guard. Saad, upon seeing this, realized that Carter was no ordinary person. Feeling a bit safer, Isabel and Carter started to get to know each other. Isabel shared about her parents who died in an accident. She also recounted the incident at the cemetery, where Roger was attacked by Saad. And most importantly, Isabel mentioned that she had taken a photo of Saad's face at the scene of the incident. Upon hearing Isabel's story, Carter was reminded of his past when he fell asleep while watching over his child. He then told Isabel that he had only 1 bullet left and asked for the roll of film in her camera. Meanwhile, Saad finds a photo of Carter with his wife and child, revealing that Carter was a former member of the military. Upon learning this, Saad admits that he too was a former Black Ops operative and has a daughter the same age as Isabel, whom he loves dearly. He explains that this is why he was forced to take on this job, to support his family. Simultaneously, Carter secures the camera roll by wrapping it up and instructs Isabel to hide it in the toilet's water tank. Carter attempts to persuade Saad to return to his family, but Saad insists that as long as anyone recognizes him, he will continue to be hunted until everything is resolved. Saad planned to burn down the house, but Carter used the existing evidence as leverage. He secured the evidence in a safe place, ensuring it would survive even if the house burned down. Carter warned Saad that if he went through with his plan, the police would surely arrive and find incriminating evidence of Saad's involvement. The stakes were now higher than ever. Meanwhile, a sheriff named Jerry was patrolling the cemetery area. He came across 2 parked cars with no one in sight. Back with Carter, he recalled what had happened to Sam due to his negligence. Feeling overwhelmed, Carter asked Isabel to bring some drinks upstairs. While getting a drink, Isabel found a doll and brought it to Carter. Since it belonged to his late child, Carter gently told Isabel to put it back where she found it. Saad accidentally found a letter written by Carter that contained an apology to his wife for failing to care for their child. As Saad read the letter, Carter was instantly reminded of the tragedy. From that moment on, Carter had been haunted by a deep sense of regret, which eventually led his wife to leave him. Saad couldn't hold back his laughter after reading the letter. He once again tried to persuade Carter to hand over Isabel as soon as possible, arguing that this would free Carter from any further responsibility. Instead of giving in, Carter assured Isabel that he would always protect her and would never surrender her to Saad. While exploring the cemetery area, Jerry suddenly heard gunshots. Meanwhile, Saad and Carter began to engage in a psychological battle, arguing fiercely as tensions escalated. The lights in the house began to dim, indicating that the generator fuel was running low, as the house had no electricity. Realizing this, Carter planned to get Isabel out through the window before it got dark, while he would try to distract Saad. Meanwhile, Jerry had already reached the front of the house. He wanted to call for help but couldn't, so he decided to go in alone. Unbeknownst to him, Saad was already preparing to ambush him. While trying to escape, Isabel accidentally encountered Saad. She quickly returned to Carter, fortunate that Saad's attack was thwarted by his ammunition running out. Saad then hid the police car in the garage to leave no evidence. Seeing this, Isabel quickly informed Carter. Carter immediately took action, pointing his gun and waiting for Saad to emerge from the garage. He demanded that Saad leave the house, but Saad showed no fear. Instead, he taunted Carter, knowing he had only one bullet left. Saad challenged Carter to attack, understanding that if Carter missed, it would be his end. As Carter counted down, Saad drew his gun, causing Carter to retreat inside. Afterward, Saad invited Jerry into the house and made an offer to Carter. He says, if Carter handed over Isabel, he could take Jerry to the hospital to treat his wounds. However, since Jerry refused, he had to face the consequences. Jerry's screams of pain deeply disturbed Carter. Feeling he had inflicted enough suffering, Saad gave Carter a final chance to hand over Isabel. Despite this, Carter remained resolute, refusing to surrender Isabel. As a result, Saad handed Jerry over to Carter, who was already lifeless. A few moments later, the atmosphere became eerily quiet. Saad stopped talking, and not a single sound of footsteps could be heard. This silence made Carter and Isabel stay extra alert. Carter then pretended to hand over Isabel to verify if Saad was still downstairs. However, the plan failed as Saad did not respond at all. Carter was forced to go downstairs to locate Saad. Earlier, he had instructed Isabel to hide in the bathroom and lock the door. After Carter went downstairs, he found that Saad's shoes had been removed. Carter then checked outside the house and saw the stairs, realizing that Saad had deliberately taken off his shoes to move upstairs silently. Indeed, Saad was now on the top floor. Isabel mistook him for Carter and called out to him. As Saad was about to enter the bathroom, Carter arrived, causing Saad to panic and fall back down to the bottom floor, sustaining additional injuries from stepping on previously scattered lamp shards. With his new injuries, Saad initially planned to burn down the house, but abandoned that idea. Instead, he used Carter's cell phone to contact someone. As darkness fell, Isabel, feeling guilty for involving Carter, apologized. Meanwhile, Saad continued to wait, and soon, Mara, Carter's wife, arrived. Saad had contacted Mara, pretending to be Carter's friend, and claimed that Carter was very drunk due to worry over his wife. Saad then took Mara hostage. Naturally, this situation intensified Carter's panic and anger, but Saad was completely indifferent to his emotions. Saad then made several threats, giving Carter only 5 counts to make a decision. With no time to spare, Carter was forced to comply with Saad's demands. Before descending the stairs, Carter handed Isabel his gun and instructed her to attack Saad as he upped the stairs, while he would attempt to rescue Mara. When they confronted each other, Carter tried to remain calm. He explained that neither he nor his wife knew Saad's true identity. Carter added that if Saad saw Isabel, it would be the end. There would be no more witnesses to the events that had transpired. However, due to Carter's actions, Saad began to play his cunning role. He started to remove his mask so that everyone present would become a witness, forcing Saad to act quickly to resolve the situation. Saad attacked Carter's legs again and threatened Isabel to come down quickly. Carter tried to stop her, but Isabel, with a blank expression, descended the stairs. Seeing this, Carter immediately devised a plan to attack Saad. Unexpectedly, the lights suddenly went off, allowing Mara to escape from Saad's grasp. Carter seized the opportunity and immediately attacked Saad, but Saad managed to fire his weapon. Mara immediately ran outside to take Isabel, but Isabel chose to go back inside to ensure everything was over. Isabel quickly encountered Saad, who was already weak and helpless. Saad, in resignation, told Isabel to finish it, but the shotgun's ammunition was empty. All this time, Saad had been deceived by Carter, who had only been holding an empty rifle. Due to his severe bleeding, Saad could no longer survive. Isabel then found Carter lying motionless. She feared he was gone, but Carter was still alive, enduring with a bullet still lodged in his body. The film ends.